Hey, future freelancer, let's talk about how to scale.
I'm not ruining it. I'm expanding it.
Now, when I say scale, I mean making more money while also working less. After all, that's why we signed up to be freelancers, right? We want to work less. How do you do that while also taking on more clients? Scaling will happen in roughly three phases. First, you have to get enough demand or leads coming in. Follow modules 1 and 2 if you haven't already. Apply to more Upwork gigs and other marketplaces and join referral groups if you haven't already. We're also going to be talking more about other ways you can acquire leads in the next few lessons. Once you feel like you've got enough demand coming in, the second phase is going to be learning how long a project is going to take you so you can learn your current client cap or a client maximum. We're going to sign up for any time tracking app. I use Bonsai for myself, and I use it to track all my hours, even for clients that aren't billed hourly. I do this so I can understand about how many hours a set of tasks will take me on average. So let's say I find out it takes 3 hours on average per week for one client. And maybe I want to only work 4 days a week, 5 hours a day. If we do that math, pretty simple, that's 20-hour work weeks, right? And 3 of those hours of the 20 are going towards that one client. This means I can probably take on 6 clients per month before I start to work too many hours more than I originally intended and start to feel overwhelmed. You'll want to set a cap for yourself, even though it might be hard to turn down potential projects, therefore potential money, because you're gonna get burnt out. This happens to so many freelancers because they're working too many hours and then their work quality decreases at the same time. After you've figured out how much is too much, you'll have to decide how you want to scale. Within the different ways to scale, the first way, and the way that we recommend, is by increasing your price to the same amount of clients. If you charge 1K a month, and I'm only taking on 6 clients in this example, I'm only making 6K a month. Well, let's say I raise my prices to 2K a month, but I can still only take on 6, right, to work under those 20 hours. Now I'm making 12K a month while working the same amount. I've made double the amount while only working the same 20-hour work weeks. The problem with this model is that you can only scale it to a certain point. This model only scales to the maximum price point that you can charge for your service based on your expertise level and the average prices for your skill on the market. You can't raise your price to probably like 100K a month for one client, right? So there's obviously a cap that's going to happen if you choose to go this route. The second way to scale is by taking on more clients while working less hours per client. Using the same example as before, if I know the average client takes 3 hours per week, that limited me to only 6 clients per month, right? What if there was a way I could produce the exact same results with only 1 hour of work per week? That would allow me to take on 20 clients per month, and now I'd be making 20K. The con of this model, as you could probably guess, is that you'd be taking on way more clients by yourself. This can be a lot of work depending on the service you are selling. And you have to accommodate for the extra time needed for communicating with the clients via Slack or email. Imagine doing that 20 times. That's a lot of Slack messages, emails, and time spent on relationship management and communicating with clients. I would avoid doing this option unless you put a cap on how many clients you're willing to take on. In my example, that would be 6. And this is regardless of the speed of your work. You have to have a cap in place or you're going to burn out.
Whoa. Yeah, he's got the burnout.
The third way to scale is to hire other subcontractors. So let's say I'm still marketing my business as just me, Faith. But once you hire me, I go and pay another one of my employees to do the actual work. And when I say employees, this could be a contractor or a full-time employee. You would need to add a clause in your contract in order to allow this. You basically just have a little phrase in there that says that you're going to be using subcontractors, and you're going to find that not every client is going to be okay with this. This is also known as white labeling. It's essentially saying this is your work, but in reality, someone else actually did the work. I've actually taken on clients where they would hire me to be a white label freelancer. So when they presented the work to their client, they said it came from them, not from me. It's likely that you're going to come across projects like this. Now, regardless if you choose to white label your work or to hire out subcontractors, this way to scale can be the most upfront work, but the highest long-term gains. It's the most upfront work because now you have to go hire new people, you have to train them on your process so the work quality stays consistent, and now you have to deal with client management. And we're not even talking about having to manage your new team after you hire them. But once you get this process nailed down, you can easily hire and train new members of your team, and your business will quickly grow because you can take on an unlimited number of clients. Every time you hit a client cap per employee or contractor, add a new one. This is also going to assume in this model that you eventually hire people to do the client management as well, because you're not going to have enough time to talk to all the clients because there's only 24 hours in a day. That means you could only talk to 24 clients if you had hourly calls, right? So then your subcontractors are going to be doing the actual client management, and your full-time job becomes managing the subcontractors. Now, why this sounds great, because you're making loads of money and no longer having to do the client work yourself, you may start to think, well, why are you and Jill doing that? Or maybe, why don't all freelancers do this? And that's actually a great question. That leads us to not only deciding how we're going to scale, but also if we want to scale at all. Of course, we all want to make more money and work less. That's why you bought this course, that's why we're here. But doing any of these three paths, raising prices, reducing the time spent per client, or hiring subcontractors, are going to require work, especially the last option. So if your goal with starting a freelancing business is to have more free time, have a chill work-life balance, and make just enough to live comfortably, then scaling up your business is probably not the right path for you. So in this situation, you want to keep the minimum amount of clients needed to hit your financial goals and enjoy the rest of your free time. Take a load off. But let's say that's not your goal. Let's say your goal is to make as much money as possible and you have endless amounts of time to grow this business. Then maybe it does make more sense for you to scale your business via subcontractors. It all boils down to personal preference for not only how you choose to scale, but if you're going to scale at all. Me and Jill wanted more of a chill freelance lifestyle where we didn't have to work a lot or manage other people. So in order to achieve this while making more money, of course, we decided to raise our prices. Raising our prices allowed for us to still keep that healthy work-life balance and still make double what we were making previously. That still took work because I had to increase my skill level so I could charge double, right? You're going to have to put some sort of work in regardless of which path you choose. This is not a get-rich-quick type of scheme, okay? To recap, there are multiple ways to scale. You can either raise your prices and keep the same client load, reduce the workload per client and take on more clients, or hire subcontractors. And before you pick any of the three, ask yourself, do you even want to scale at all? Does that make sense for you and the lifestyle you want to live? You don't have to answer these two questions right now. You'll learn as you go what makes sense for your business. I didn't decide until about 6 months in that I didn't want to scale. Had you asked me when I started out, I wanted to start an agency. So you're going to change your mind throughout the process as you learn what works for you.
Yeah, that works.